Good morning. This is Samuel, and in this video on my ENTJ series, I'll be covering the topic of conflict and my perceptions on it through the lens of being an ENTJ. I love conflict. Conflict is a filter. It sorts through the nonsense. It's a way to distinguish. It's a way to identify those systems which will continue to work and those systems which have begun to malfunction. In business and commerce, this looks like one business being outcompeted by another, either through a better method, product, customer experience, reputation, what have you. Conflict is not and never should be viewed, in my estimation, as a zero-sum game. It's also not entirely clear to me that through conflict, except in very rare occasions, do you have absolute winners and absolute losers. In every conflict, you are going to take some type of a loss. Even if, through all estimations, it's a near complete and total victory, you're still going to have to expend some type of resource in order to achieve that. You may have won a greater amount of something, but you've had to give up a certain amount of something else. Well, I don't have the mindset to be a statesman, but in my estimation, wars between countries and civil wars are often an extension of the idea that they have different systems, and they have different types of systems within that whole unit of a country. One country may have a fantastic educational and governance system, but a very weak military system. Conversely, another country may have a fantastic military system, but not a very, what we'd call, quote-unquote, good governance system. So perhaps countries without good, quote-unquote, and by good I mean it works and it satisfies the needs of the people, governance system that does that, they're probably going to be more disposed towards internal conflicts and strife. Civil wars may break out, especially when combined with the military system that is working. You may get different factions within said military that have a different idea about how things should be done. Conversely, a country that has a very poor military system, but a good governance system, may begin to and continue to ignore matters of military affairs and could quite easily be conquered or otherwise brought down by some other state. For myself, returning this down to the individual, to me, any healthy conflict should have a clear objective in mind. Whatever that objective may be, by clearly defining it, understanding it, knowing what it'll look like, knowing how to measure it and measure when you're close or far away from said objective is paramount above all else. This could be referred to as the end state, coming from a military parlance, a military way of speaking, at least a modern one. You'll often hear guys refer to the end state. The end state, what's your end state? What does the end state look like? What they're asking is, what does the objective, when achieved, look like? Because even if the moment-to-moment details of a situation change and alter, so long as everyone understands what that objective is, what the end state is and should look like, they can course correct on an individual basis if need be. So for myself, whenever going into conflict, I try to have a very clear idea on what is my end state for doing this or for engaging in this. This can be difficult sometimes. Sometimes I want to enter a conflict just for conflict's sake. Partially because for myself, when I'm involved in that type of thing, in some kind of conflict or competition or whatnot, there is definitely a sense of being, there's adrenaline, everything is right and it makes sense. So being aware of the fact that sometimes I may choose to engage not out of some higher goal, but just as a way to satisfy my momentary desires, is something really important to be aware of. This can make personal relationships difficult as well. I will have the tendency to want to argue just for the sake of arguing. I may go into a quote-unquote fight or argument with someone that I care about from the mindset of wanting to win, and not clearly defining what winning is before going into something like that, especially on a one-to-one level, whether it be a romantic partner, someone involved in your inner circle, or someone who you're partnered with in terms of business, or even a friend. It's really important to figure out what is winning here. Is winning just having the upper hand in the argument so you can get a gotcha or I told you so? Or is it, hey look, here's a problem. We need to get this problem resolved, and we have a disagreement about how to do it. Or there was some potential slight that occurred in the past, and like, hey, this thing happened, it's not okay, I'm not cool with it. And then going into a discussion of like, was it intentional? Was it intentional of the fallout that this action, this other person, or that you did affected this other party? So whether someone in some way offended you or you offended someone else, was that the intention? Was it the intention to cause harm? If it was not the intention, well, hey, look, we have to keep this from happening again. Is this a repeated behavior is then the next thing. This is stuff that I do struggle with consistently, more especially in my personal relationships. Largely, I think, because I'll have the mindset that, oh, sweet, here's an opportunity for me to, metaphorically speaking, rip this person's throat out. And that, for me, doing that, and especially if I can justify it, is pretty enjoyable. But that being said, that's a course of action that should be reserved only in specific circumstances. And more importantly, it's not something that should be done with people who you want to have a closer relationship with. I think this is a really, really common way for myself and potentially other ENTJs to make enemies and to eventually end up isolated. Because if you do not get this under control, it'll become a little bit more of a habit for you, and you'll build up a reputation for doing this. So, kind of wrapping this up, before you go into any type of conflict, what is your end state? What are you trying to achieve? Who are you arguing with? Or who are you going into conflict with? And why? What sorts of rules of engagement should you have? Okay, I take back what I just said. I'm not going to wrap this up quite yet. Okay, so when going into conflict, I think it's pretty critical to figure out what your rules of engagement are. What are you allowed to not do is the more important thing. I would say, what are you allowed to do and what are you allowed not to do? But just having a very simple rule set of like, hey, here are the things we're not going to do when arguing with this type of person. And trying to hold on to that is part of a code or form of ethics.